Hey, John Ojaka here from TunePipe, and in this video I just wanted to quickly share with you 5 design options you probably didn't know about. So there is a lot that you can do in TunePipe, and in truth this video is really just scratching the surface, but there are a couple of cool things that that are not exactly hidden, but are not immediately obvious, and I haven't created tutorials about them yet because they're sort of atypical functionality. They're not things that you necessarily need, but you might benefit from if you knew that they were available to you. So I wanted to put just a quick little video together for you to share some of those things. So let's dive into it. Here are 5 design options you probably didn't know about in TunePipe. All right, so the first tip I've got for you is that you can create smart link pages in TunePipe very easily. There is a smart link template, but it's a little bit hidden and you may not have come across it. If you're not familiar with smart links, basically these are those intermediate pages that many musicians create that they can drive their traffic to and then link away to a bunch of different services, typically streaming services. So if you want to create a smart link page and drive traffic to that page instead of to a lead generation form that then drives people over to Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon, you can easily do that, and we've created one sort of universal template that you can modify to make work for you. Eventually there will be many more template options here in TunePipe. To find them, you just come over here to your builder, and let's say you want to add a new smart link page to your website. You would come over here, let's see, you would click add new pages, you would click page, and then you'd scroll down to miscellaneous, and here you've got your smart link template. So this is it right here. You click select, let's call it smart link. Call it whatever you want. Oops, I've got caps lock on. Let's turn that off. Smart link. And then we're going to click add. And you can come in here and obviously swap out this image, swap out the background image, and then add links to each one of these services. And now when you drive traffic to one of these services, you can actually track them using the native TunePipe Facebook integration. You can track anyone who clicks on this button over to Spotify as a conversion, and then you can create either custom audiences for retargeting or lookalike audiences, or do ultimately anything that you want to with that audience. So again, a handy little page design that many of you probably wouldn't have seen because it was buried there in miscellaneous. When I eventually add more template options for you, then there will be a smart link category, but I wanted you to know that it was there. All right, next up, you can adjust the positioning of your header. So let's go back over to my browser. And here we are looking at the Scratch template, which has a header on the side. And a few templates have this now, but I didn't know if anyone was aware that you can very easily move your header around so that any template used a side header, or these templates that have a side header can be made to have that header appear on the top like your more traditional sites. So all you do is come to the header settings, click on that, and now we have these options, vertical at left, which is what we're looking at now, or you can go on top, normal size, and there we go. Now we've got a header on the top of the page, and we can click header settings again, go on top full width, which doesn't really change much, or we can go on top compact, which brings it in from the sides, and then you could adjust the color background if you wanted, of course, to get rid of those white bars that you see there, or you could go vertical at right, which does the same thing that we saw before but moves it over to the right. So you can give your site a dramatically different look with this one setting. And again, different templates use the top and the side header settings, but it dawned on me that many were probably not aware that it was very simple to move over just like so. One other thing to be aware of is that when you are using one of these side headings, the hide header feature doesn't appear. So you might be going, well, gosh, where's that hide header feature that I'm familiar with normally when it's at the top. You won't see it if it's here on the side. So what you would have to do is come to header settings. Let's go to on top normal size, and then we could come here and just hide the header if you were creating a squeeze page or something like that and you didn't want the header to appear. So that is how you adjust the positioning of your header. All right, next up, you can create an alternative header. So if we come over here to my site and we've got this header, in this particular site, I'm using a very minimalistic, almost mobile style header. Most of the templates have a bigger, more pronounced header. But for whatever reason, the header you're using may not work optimally for your page. For example, this header is a white bit of text on a gray background, but in the store where there's a white background, you can't see this header. So I have an alternative header that I use in the store. And likewise, sometimes maybe you've got a members area. You might want to have a different navigation that only members see, as opposed to what the general public sees. So you can go and set an alternative header for that group. Now, you can only create one alternative header at this time, at least in terms of automatically. However, you can still manually go in and hide the header and then create a unique header for a specific page if you ever need to add a third or fourth header to individual pages within your site. But to create an an alternative header, what you would do is let's try to find a page where this makes a little more sense. We'll go to the system pages. I think I've already done it here, but let's go to the store page, the store catalog. And here you can see that I actually have done it. If we come to the settings and you click this button, use alternative header for this page, it will automatically pull up that header. So if we untick it and save it, it disappears, and now we've got that header that I mentioned. These are category links, but it's over here and you can't really see it because it's white on white. But if we come back again, oops, I'm in the wrong link. If we come back to pages, come to system pages, let's find that catalog page, the store catalog. We click that and click save. Then the alternative header appears, and you can just come in here and edit it as you would any normal header. Add different logos, add different menu items, adjust it. Whoops, like grab the where's the handlebars for this? I need to grab it down here. It gets a little tricky when they overlap sometimes. It's right over this. The damn handlebar is underneath this button. So what I need to do is hide this, and then I can grab it, and there we go. And I can show it. So that is how you create an alternative header for a page, and you can select your alternative header for all of your pages, one of your pages, whatever you ultimately want to do. And by default, you'll have your main header, and in order to display the alternative header, you would just go into those page settings that I showed you. All right, next up, you can create a boxed website layout. So what do I mean? Well, let's go to my site. So this is a full width website. I personally feel that this is a pretty modern look. This is the way websites are going these days. But for various reasons, you might want a more traditional boxed website where we've got the content here in the middle and we've got a background, what would you call it, a sort of, I guess, a background margin on either side of the main content area. Now, to do that, you would simply come over to Global Styling, click on that, come over to Website Layout, and then from this drop down, you can select Boxed. And then, as you can see here, I've got a goofy background behind there from some previous test. But let's say we wanted to, come in here and select an image. What do I want to add? I don't want to add any of these images. So let's close that. Let's just go with a solid sort of texture here, just to make this simple. But again, to add a background, you would just click on that and then upload or select your image. And now I need to actually click confirm. now when we come here, you can see that we've created a more traditional box website. I've got my screen minimized, so the effect is not as dramatic, but when it's full width, we've got big margins here on the side, and all that content is forced into the center. So let's go back there. And you've got these different options here as well. You know, we can click on that. You can see that it just went dark for me, light, and there's a little bit of texture in there as well. Or again, we've got our image that, you know, you can't see, and it's terribly wrong for this website. And you know, you can also adjust the grid width here by, let's say, coming down a bit to make it more narrow. I can't look at that background image. I can go all the way down, and we've made the section. Whoops, I keep forgetting to click confirm. But we've made the margins of the site, or the content area, much, or not the margin, but we made the content area much smaller. So that is how you create a boxed view for your website. And finally, you can create a fixed background for your pages. So let's head back to my site, and you'll notice as we scroll, everything scrolls with me. You know, the background colors, the background images, everything scrolls with me. We're in the builder. You're probably already familiar with the parallax effect, which you can achieve by ticking this button. That means that this background image of this block will scroll at a slightly different rate than the text in front of it, and it just gives the page a really cool, modern, slick look. But that's not what I'm talking about. We can set things so that the entire background that I'm looking at right now stays put while all the content scrolls past it. Now, you need to be careful with something like this to make sure that the content that you are putting in front of your images is still readable, and there are things you can do like adding overlays that will help with that, but you just want to really scroll through your entire page and make sure that it looks the way you want it to look, and it doesn't impede on the readability of your content. But if used right, it can create a really cool look that I know already I've seen a number of users take advantage of. So I wanted to show you how to do that because the feature is not obvious. So if we want to do that, now this the fixed background feature exists on the page level. So if you want to do this, you can't do it for the entire site. You would do it for your home page, and then you know, perhaps copy that page going forward, or just toggle the settings on each page. Only takes a second. But you would do that from the global styling. You come over here to page styling, and now we need to add our background image. So I'm going to add that one, same image that I've already got on the page, and then from here I'm going to select fixed. By default, it'll most likely be on repeat. Then I'm going to click confirm. Now this has done half of the job. You'll notice nothing changed there. Why? Because we've got a background image on this block. Nothing changed here because we've got a background color on this block. And the only one where we have a transparent background is this one. And you can see that it has created some clashes there. It's hard to read the text. But so what we would want to do is come here to the block, and we would want to delete the image. Whoops, it took me here. And then we would want to adjust the background color to transparent. And again, for readability's sake, you probably want to have an overlay. This one's already got one, but you'd probably want to do something like that to just make things easier to read. Now you'll see when we scroll, the background image is fixed. But what about this section here? It's got a background color, so we come in here and make that transparent. And you can see it's a dramatically different look because there's no overlay, and it's also much harder to read. So let's add an overlay. Let's see, let's adjust that color. Let's see if I can get it. I didn't go and figure out exactly what color I was using, but I think it's this one. And we come down to around, it was 5 something. So was it black? Let's see, I need to match it. Yes, it looks like it was black that I was using. And now we can see we've created a nice seamless look there. However, we can't read that text. So for something like this, I'd want to come in and change the color of the text to make it more readable if I was intent on doing something like this. And I could even go and use the box layout to create a bright fixed background on the sides with a content area that had that the overlay on it, creating, you know, sort of I don't know, shaded background behind our primary content while leaving the image bright on the outside if you wanted to. Or you could even use the overlay in both areas but adjust them separately. So anyway, that is how you create a fixed background for your site. Again, use it carefully. As you can see out of the box here, it creates a lot of problems for my design, but I've seen it used in some really cool ways, and it can definitely be used to enhance your design. So that's it. Those are 5 design tips that you probably weren't aware of. I hope that helped you. Again, TunePipe is incredibly flexible, and there's so much more that you can do. If you can think of it, it's probably possible in TunePipe. And I'm always here to help if you ever have any questions whatsoever that you can't find in the FAQ or the Learning Center. Please don't hesitate to get in touch. And as always, thank you for using TunePipe. Take care.